Well, one of the things that, technology has provided for us is the ability to connect with like-minded people and to organize ourselves into groups and clubs and communities. And there are thousands upon 10,000s of these all throughout the world, these clubs and groups. There is an organization called Hook a Canuck, which has the purpose of helping American people marry Canadian people. It's an actual group. There is a club called the National Mouse Club. I thought that was interesting. There is the Antique Button Collecting Club. I don't belong to that one. The Handlebar Mustache Club. I want to belong to that one. There is the Society for Gravestone Research. There is even a group on Facebook for people who have joined too many groups on Facebook. So there's all these types of groups and clubs. People self-organize all the time into these kind of things. So an intriguing question for us is, how does the community of Christ's followers differ from the countless other communities and clubs that exist within this world? Is the church just like the National Mouse Club? A place where people collect en masse to spend time with a certain topic that we all seem to enjoy? Or is there something deeper? Is there something deep within the fabric of what it means to be the church that is different than other communities and groups? A reading from Ephesians contains a look at Christian community. Paul outlines some practical issues regarding what it means to be the community of the church. Things like telling the truth and putting away falsehood, not stealing, being kind and being forgiving. And it might seem very straightforward and very run-of-the-mill. Yet it actually speaks to a radical manner in which we are to live in connection, not just with God, but with others as well. I invite you to pick up your pew Bibles and turn to Ephesians chapter 2. Sorry, I think it's chapter 4. Sorry, not chapter 2. Chapter 2 is a wonderful chapter as well, so you can just totally read that. But now our reading is all about how we are supposed to act. It's not necessarily a doctrinal section of Paul's letter. He has spoken of that before in chapter 2. Just prior to our reading, Paul walked through some of the doctrines about being a Christian person. He talks about putting aside the old manner of life, about being made new in Jesus. He talks about how our connection with Jesus renews the attitude of our minds. It transforms us to want to live in righteousness and holiness, to desire to live for God. And because of that kind of recreation that Jesus works in us, Paul writes in verse 25, "Therefore, each of you must put off falsehood and speak truthfully to his neighbor." Now, this is beyond, and this is deeper than just telling the truth. Because I don't know about you, but I know of instances in my own life where people have said damaging, hurtful, or insulting things under the guise of, well, I'm just telling you the truth. So I think it's deeper than that. Because telling the truth can be a weapon that some people wield in order to tear others down. So deeper than the graceless or careless lobbying of truth, Paul says that we are to connect with each other, I think, in authenticity and integrity. He writes that we speak truthfully to one another because we are all members of one body. We are connected. And falsehood in you affects my own health. And falsehood in me affects your health. Instead, we are to engage in truthfulness together. So what does that look like? Well, minimally, it might look like if somebody asks us how we are doing, maybe we shouldn't say fine when we're not actually fine. Maybe the community to which the church is called to be is about being so radically real with each other and offering ourselves to each other so authentically that we allow the space to say, you know what? I'm not okay. Because what happens sometimes is that people, even in the church, we go through a lot of things. And because people feel like they can't open up about it, they can't talk about it, they don't know what people are going to think about it, we go through these things all alone. People may be afraid of how people will think or judge. And so they get bad news from the doctor, but nobody knows because nobody says anything. They face issues at home, but nobody knows because nobody says anything. Maybe they feel that their prayers are hollow or empty. Or maybe that they feel that they don't actually even know how to pray. Or maybe they feel that they've gone into a place where, I don't know if I believe in God as I used to. But they don't say anything. And so nobody knows. Because a falsehood is erected in place of real and honest connection. We wear masks. We put on facades about who we are, how we want other people to see us and think of us. And what Paul is saying is that falsehood destroys community. Because falsehood, doing that, wearing those masks, putting up those walls, really it's focusing just on myself. Only on how I want to be perceived and I want to be thought, or even how I can use you in order to increase my own perceptions. Truthfulness, however, focuses not just on myself, but also on the other, and on God who is with both of us. But being authentic in our community and being truthful in our community isn't just how we relate to people in the church. Right? It's how we live within this world. Paul talks about living truthfully to one another, and then he goes on to anger and stealing. And with stealing, he doesn't say, don't steal because it's against the 10 Commandments. He says, don't steal because we're supposed to give of ourselves to helping other people, to helping those who are in need. Right? Stealing is based just on me. I'm going to get what I want. I'm going to get what I desire just to fuel me. But if we turn that around and be a community of other focused people, then we're going to give of ourselves, our time and our talents, to other people's help, to other people's healing. It's not just about us here, it's about us within this world. Because the Ephesians, they didn't have a specific building with a fancy name. For them, being a part of the Christian community was how they lived life. In the company of other faithful people, yes, but also in the wider world. If you look at verse 29, Paul says, "Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs." Again, it's other-focused, "that it may benefit all who listen." It's not just me and you. It's me and